Okay, so let's talk about remote war, and let's begin our discussion with UAVs or drones. A UAV or drone is a remotely operated, uninhabited aerial vehicle. So they fly around, no one's in them. The pilot is some huge distance away operating it. And UAVs have a number of uses. So one use is that they can attack, carry out aerial strikes. Another use is that they can offer surveillance. They can look at what the enemy's doing. And they can relay real-time images to the control room. So they can check out what the enemy's doing, check out what the enemy's doing right now, show pilots what's happening now, and they can carry out attacks. They allow monitoring and killing at a distance without exposing pilots to risk, and so reduces the risk. And this results in a sort of asymmetry of risk exposure to combatants on different sides of the war. So on the one hand, you've got the people flying the drones, they're in some safe facility far away, and then you've got the people they're fighting, and they're just there in tanks or with a gun, and it's asymmetric. Notice that asymmetric warfare isn't new, um, and an asymmetry of exposure to risk isn't new. So think about when the English longbow was developed in the 14th century. People with longbows could be far back on the battlefield, far away from their enemy. The enemy didn't have the tools to get at them, but with the longbow they could shoot their enemy. So the people who used the English longbow were accused of being cowards, and people noted that there was a difference in the exposure of risk and asymmetry that came from this invention. But there are some authors who think there's something even more significant about UAVs than this. It's not just that one side is exposed to more risk than the other, not just like the English longbow. And here's two things that they sometimes bring up. One thing they say is, look, UAVs don't just reduce the risk. It would be one thing if they just reduce the risk, but they practically eliminate it. They practically toss the risk out altogether. You got the pilot who's far away in some safe area. No matter what happens to the drone, nothing happens to the pilot. The people engaged with the drone, the people over there, they can't do anything to get the pilot. So it doesn't just reduce the risk, it eliminates it. Again, this isn't completely new because missiles sometimes function in this way, where you can be at a huge distance, launch a missile. There you go. There's another respect in which people think that UAVs are new. And they're really, really asymmetric. Really, really different. UAVs are super expensive. Only wealthy states can have them. And so that creates a significant, huge advantage for wealthy states. They can use drones without the risk of having drones used against them. And so they have no reason to get an agreement where they say, let's just not use drones. And so two things that are supposed to be distinctive and new about UAVs, according to some people. First, they don't just reduce the risk for one side, they eliminate it. Second, they're expensive in such a way that they're only available to wealthy states. And so such states can use them without risks of having them used against themselves.